Now on The Finest, Nikki DeSantel's sculptures are legendary in San Diego. We tell the story of her longtime friend and assistant who still takes care of her work long after she's gone. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome in San Diego, it's Jade Hindman. On today's show, could we have a blue zone nearby? A look at a new partnership between San Marcos and the Blue Zone Project. This is KPBS Midday Edition, connecting our communities through conversation. What does it take to live a happier, healthier, and longer life? Well, this Wellness Wednesday, we're trying to answer that question by exploring the idea of blue zones. The term is used to describe communities where people live very long lives. And just last month, the city of San Marcos announced that it's partnering with the Blue Zones Project. So with me now to talk more about Blue Zones is Dr. Jorge Ortañez. He's an Associate Chief Medical Officer at True Care San Marcos. He's also a Blue Zone certified physician. Dr. Ortañez, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here today.
So glad to have you here, and I'm so interested in this conversation. So first, what was your reaction to the news that San Marcos was really taking this Blue Zones approach to the community health?
I was very happy with it. San Marcos is where I live, where I work, where we see the majority of our patients at True Care. And it just made a lot of sense. We, as an organization, have been doing a lot of work when it comes to prevention of diseases and just help patients live healthier and longer lives already. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, this is great. It just makes a lot of sense that we extend this work far beyond our clinics as well.
And Dr. Ortañez, what does it mean to be a Blue Zones community?
To be a Blue Zones community, it means that you are, in a way, ready and you have a lot of resources and tools for patients, for people and communities at large to be able to live healthier, longer lives. There's one thing that I am seeing patients in the room, in the exam rooms, and I know their medical history, and I can talk about how you could be eating healthier, you should be exercising, you should be doing this and that. I think it would be beneficial if you do and apply those principles to your personal life. And when they leave the room, what happens when they go back to their homes and the community? Are those spaces available for them to exercise, to be able to do this freely without having to worry about, different things that potentially happen? Are there spaces where they can find and access healthy, nutritious foods, places where they can connect with others? And that's more of that Blue Zones approach, is taking things outside of the exam room and thinking about communities at large and making sure that those resources are available and easily accessible for people.
Well, I want to talk more about those principles because I'm curious how you would sum up the Blue Zones approach at an individual level. I know it's guided by the 9 power principles, right?
Correct. Yes, I think a good way to look at those principles and try to sum those up are, I would sort of bucket them in 3 big ones. One being the movement, ensuring that people can move naturally, to encourage them to do some sort of physical activity. Like, that can look very different for everyone. I'm not, writing specific prescriptions and saying, like, you need to do this exercise so you can do better. So things can look different for everyone. It's just encouraging movement. And even if you're at work, if you're, sitting most of the day, like, there are ways and things that you can do to help you with that. The other one, and there's different things around the nutrition, where the Blue Zones principles focus specifically on a more plant-based diet. People have different options, and they can choose to do whatever they want. And that's where you come to healthcare providers, and we can partner with you to help you make those decisions. But that's the approach that those Blue Zones typically have. There's something called the 80% rule, where encouraging people to eat 80% of their plate. Don't wait until you're full, because oftentimes you're like, oh, I need to finish this, I need to do this, I need to do that. That's something else. And then the last one, the last big bucket, is more on the social connection. There's a lot of research that shows that social isolation can be very damaging to your health as well. So that's where, again, those principles can be lumped into those 3 big buckets.
Is San Marcos meeting these principles?
So we are doing, and what's going to happen right now with this Blue Zones project is that there's going to be some research and questionnaires and reaching out to the community. And so there's this whole process where an investigation is going to be launched to see whether the city is ready and what's lacking, reaching out to community members, healthcare organizations. So we're currently in the process of trying to understand a little bit more about the community at large.
All right. Well, you're a Blue Zones certified physician. Has that certification helped you expand in your already existing approach to wellness and care?
It has. So I'm a family medicine physician, and I've been practicing medicine for some years now. A couple years ago, I acquired my lifestyle medicine certification, which is actually a requirement to obtain a Blue Zone certification. I think with lifestyle medicine, it's helped me look at things in more on the prevention side of things, and then help me as a healthcare administrator to also bring those programs to our patients and to the communities that we serve. So I'm no longer saying like, oh, eat healthy, exercise. I can say, here's this program and a partnership we have with the YMCA where you can come and see us, and then we can help you how to do this, X, Y, and Z. When it comes to Blue Zones and why I pursue the certification is because it takes, again, things beyond the clinic wall and looking at the community and the environment, so I can get involved in initiatives like this, so I can know what's actually happening outside of the patient's rooms. Because oftentimes what happens in healthcare is that we have recommendations. People come back and see us in a month, 3 months, and then some people can get frustrated. The patient, the clinician, like, oh, you didn't do what I told you. Like, well, we need to understand what we call the social drivers of health, and that's where people live, where they eat, where they spend most of their time. So I think it's helped me a lot to look beyond what we do on a clinic level and on a one-on-one case.
Wow. And that's so true, right? A clinician could recommend someone start walking every day. But then their reality is when they walk outside of their front door, the sidewalk pavement is so uneven that it's unsafe to do so. So it's so important to really look at how people are living, right?
Correct. It's very important. And speaking of walking, like one of the things that we did last year was we started a Walk with the Doc chapter. This is something that happens in many countries, not just here, where you get a group of people, you invite them, they come, and I've led some of the walks, and I've encouraged other clinicians at TrueCare to lead walks where you give a health topic to patients, a small talk outside. This can happen in the park, which is where we do it. And then we walk with patients. Like we take them on a walk to promote physical activity, and then they can ask questions in an informal setting. So we're having conversations with them about their health, about things that sometimes they don't feel comfortable asking while they're in the rooms, because healthcare is just, a lot of people don't feel very comfortable, and they know, I don't think anyone likes going to the doctor. It is important for prevention, but that's something that we did as well. So just finding ways that we can actually engage with the community in a different way.
Yeah. Well, speaking of prevention, current healthcare can be very reactive, trying to solve existing problems instead of preventing them in the first place. Do you think the Blue Zones approach helps address that issue?
I think so. I think looking into this, it's not just people need to have access to healthcare, and they need to show up, and they need to understand and have the education and the foundation to be able to make their healthy decisions. As a healthcare provider, I'm not going to sit in front of anyone and say, like, you need to do this because I say so. Like, my role is to provide them with the information, with accurate information backed by science, and ensure that we're able to educate them and give them the opportunity to ask questions as well. So I think this is something that focuses a lot on the prevention, regardless of what's happening in different cities and countries. Right, we do have a Blue Zone already here in California, Loma Linda, so it's the closest one to us. The other 5 in far away from us in other countries. And there's a lot of things that we've learned from them. And then people oftentimes say, like, well, like, how are you going to do what they're doing there? Like, the population is different, genetics. There's so many other components. But the principles are things that are very easily replicable, and you can apply those to patients, and then people can make their own choices, right? And that's, as long as I think our job is to ensure that we can provide that information, and then patients can decide what to do with that information.
And, there have been some criticisms of the Blue Zones approach, with some claiming it's based on weak demographic data. What criticisms have you seen or heard?
Yeah, I think it's related to what I just mentioned about like how are you trying to apply something that's happening, in another country in different places, and the healthcare system looks different based on there hasn't been necessarily a randomized controlled trial or study, a very rigorous study that brings all the principles together. There's a lot of data and a lot of information that looks into the eating, for instance, right? So like eating more plant-based, there's a lot of information that helps with that and prevent disease and treat disease as well. And then the social connection, there's a lot of different studies. I don't think there is one specific study that's looked at all the principles. So that's something that people often say. But if you put a lot of those together and we know that things work, the cumulative effect of those actions and when it comes to prevention or when you already have certain conditions that the principles can apply to, that has proven to be very successful and helpful. And then also there's how, the situation about, you're not going, things that I hear, right? You're not going to affect change. And like, it's very difficult to make people change. And that's not the goal, right? I go back to the education. I feel like it is in healthcare, it is our duty to be able to provide accurate and science-backed information for people to ultimately make those decisions. And Blue Zones takes this many steps further because we need to do this with the community partners. I cannot do my job on my own when I'm recommending people to eat healthy and to do different things. When, you go to different clinics, you're driving and there's like different, fast food chain restaurants and this and that, and food is expensive. People don't have access to food sometimes. That those things are very, very important. And it takes cities, it takes governments, it takes a lot for all of us to come together to really, truly affect change. Because it's not that people don't want to change. The question is like, are we setting them up for success or not?
Do you feel like the Blue Zones approach, does it solely focus on Western medicine, or are we pulling in other?
No, I wouldn't say that it's just solely Western medicine. I think there's many, the principles and everything that comes when it comes to like finding meaning in life, and a lot of the things happen outside of where we are in the clinics, right? Most of the work, and 80% of what goes into your health and what determines the outcomes of your health is not what we do in the clinics. It's not me prescribing medications. It's not me ordering studies. Those things are important. But there's this approach of, again, about the social isolation, making sure that they have the connection, the groups, that you're able to do that together with others. So I wouldn't say that it's just this approach. There's a big focus on the prevention and looking and learning from what the rest of the world is doing and trying to apply that to what we do here as well.
And so for people who are in search of wellness and really want to commit to their wellness, what questions should they be asking themselves or reflecting on?
It's a great question, and something that comes to mind is, and which is something that I put into practice with my patients, is are you ready, or how ready are you to change? So if you're coming because you have a specific chronic condition or you're wanting to prevent those problems, then and I think if you're here today seeing me in my office, I think I don't want to assume, but I always ask that question, like, it seems to me that you are ready to make some change. And if you're not, like, let's put things on a scale of 1 to 10. Like if you're a 3, right? So what would it take to go to a 5 or a 6, right? And then understanding that this is a marathon, it's not a sprint, right? So giving grace to yourself and understanding that if you've had habits for so long, or this is how you grew up, things are not going to change from one day to another, and you don't have to do everything at the same time, right? So it's just pick one thing today, focus on this for the next couple of weeks, and then you can continue to work and build upon that.
Wow, so it's building those small habits that actually turn into big life-changing things.
Correct. It's all about the habits. You start very, very small, and then everything's going to add up. Next thing you know, like I don't want people to be defined but what the things that they're doing. Like, oh my God, I have to wake up and exercise. I want people to think and say, I am a person who exercises. That's part of your identity. I am a person who likes to eat healthy, nutritious foods, as opposed to like, I'm on a diet. Oh my God, I have to wake up and exercise. Like, you need to change the way you think about those habits.
Indeed. That's some great advice. I've been speaking with Dr. Jorge Otañez, Associate Chief Medical Officer at True Care San Marcos. There will be a Blue Zones Community Keynote event in San Marcos on March 17th. More details are found on kpbs.org/midday. Dr. Otañez, thank you so very much.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us today. If you missed anything, you can download KPBS Midday Edition on all podcast apps. Don't forget to watch Evening Edition tonight at 5 for in-depth reporting on San Diego issues. Also, you can always share your feedback or segment ideas at midday@kpbs.org or just give us a call. The number is 619-452-0228. I'm Jade Hindman. Join us again tomorrow. Until then, make it a great day on purpose, everyone.
San Diego County is known for being one of America's most expensive regions. Locals are feeling the squeeze and looking for solutions. KPBS's new series, Price of San Diego, delves into the rising cost of groceries, childcare, car insurance, and even our beloved California burrito. You won't want to miss this ongoing series live now at kpbs.org/Price of San Diego.